Do you find yourself overwhelmed by the thought of making a career transition? I've been there and I understand the challenges you face. That's why I created the Career Compass, the ultimate guide for high achieving corporate women to make career transitions with ease. The Career Compass breaks down the decision making process into 5 clear steps, helping you make savvy, empowered career decisions. Head over to KarenFreeland.com/career compass right now and download this invaluable resource. It's completely free and will get you on the path to a more fulfilling career. Go to KarenFreeland.com/career compass now. Welcome to Rock Your Reinvention, where I help high achieving career women like you get unstuck, make your corporate exit strategy, and successfully transition to your next chapter. Hi, I'm your host, Karen Freeland, a certified life coach and corporate exit strategist. Whether you want to start a business, become a speaker, or something else, I'm here to give you the tools and strategies to shift your mindset, build your confidence, and take bold actions so you can rock your reinvention. Ready? Let's go. Welcome to part 2 of 10 pitfalls of career transitions that you need to avoid. Okay, in case you missed last week's episode, I'm doing a 2-parter. And last Thursday, I went over the 5 pitfalls that I see women falling into when it comes to making a career pivot. And this week, I am continuing on with 5 more pitfalls for you to avoid. So you can start here and then go back if you missed it. You don't need to listen to it in order. It doesn't matter. But it would be awesome to go back and listen to that one too, just so you can get the full gamut. All right. Just a reminder that I do see this in situations, regardless of how big or small the career change may be. So sometimes it's, again, those really big changes that people want to make. And sometimes it's just like changing departments in their own company, okay? But all of these come into factor in one way or another. And I see it at all levels, right? From entry-level women to senior executives making $900,000 a year. So whatever change you're attempting to make, this is going to apply to your situation in some capacity. As you listen today, I want to invite you to have an open mind and be as honest with yourself as possible. Really consider which of these pitfalls have been plaguing you and which ones you need to create an action plan around to avoid going forward. You ready? I know you can't really respond to me, but let's do this. Here we go. Here are the 5 pitfalls of career transitions. Pitfall number 1. Not planning enough. I don't care what kinds of career moves you're trying to make, some strategic planning needs to go into this. It's a big change when you move up in an organization. Oh, and don't forget about when you move down. And yeah, there is a time when you may want to take a step down. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. Or when you change companies or industries altogether. The tools and thinking that you relied on in your old role may not be the ones that help you achieve success in your new one. That's why it's so critical to have a coach when you're making career transitions. Your identity may shift. Your finances may change, for good or for bad, right? There is a lot to consider. But one area where I especially see a lack of planning is when women are wanting to exit corporate altogether. And you may have had those moments when you just realize you're done, right? This is just not going to work anymore. And as tempting as it can be to walk in and chuck up your deuces, that's definitely not advisable in 99.5% of the situations I see, okay? And you know that, right? You're a smart cookie. And so while I almost never see that kind of lack of planning, I do see a lack of planning, or maybe what I'll call a narrow focus in the planning. So for example, worrying about finances only. And your financial health is absolutely an important component of any career move. And I always recommend that my clients seek the guidance of a financial planner to make sure it's the right time, it's the right move, right? Like put all those pieces together. But it's not the only thing. You also need to consider your emotional needs, planning for your downtime, or what you're going to step into when corporate isn't taking up all your time. That's important. That might be a hobby or time on your calendar to actually determine what the next steps are. Considering healthcare, vacations, stocks, and bonuses, right? There's so much to navigate and so many things that go into an exit plan. And so, what happens for some is you start to plan and you get overwhelmed and it feels like a lot. So, you just stay stuck where you already are. Or you just keep doing more of the same because it's the devil you know versus the one you don't know. And so, I don't want you to fall into this trap. If you don't have a good plan around your next move, I want you to consider what you need to make an empowered pivot and who can help you do that, right? Whether that's me, another resource, a self-help book, whatever it is, you want to make sure you have the support you need to plan effectively. Your transition will go so much smoother as a result. Pitfall number 2. Thinking this decision is final or you have to get it right. This simply isn't true. No career decision is ever final. You can always go back to what you were doing. Now, I know one of you is like, no, you don't know my company. If I leave, they're not going to take me back. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If they suck, they won't, right? But if they're savvy business leaders and have a heart and value you and your work, they would be foolish not to welcome you back with open arms. And the other thing to remember is they're not the only company out there doing what you want to do. So this is not the end of the road. One way to combat this thought is to get some proof of it not being true. So let me give you an example. When I left Verizon, I kept thinking, this is it. If I leave, it's over. There's no chance of ever coming back. Now, I would never want to go back. And that really, now in hindsight, was coming from a place of fear, like as if my new thing wasn't going to work out. I would need this to fall back on. But what I was able to do is find several instances of proof that that thought was actually faulty thinking. I found numerous colleagues who had left and came back. I saw other people come back as contractors, making more money than they made when they worked there as an employee. So, boom, right? Thought busted. Where can you find proof of your faulty thinking so that you can put this idea that, this is it, this decision is final, there's no going back, and you can put all of that behind you? Now, the other thing, which I find is usually more problematic, is that women are actually trying to get the right decision, as if there's only one right answer. And if you choose wrong, your whole life will go down the toilet. Also, not true. Instead, you get to view this as an exciting adventure. I mean, perspective is everything, right? You get to see this as a chance to learn and grow. Whatever you land on, wherever you go to work, it's going to be the right move because it's going to teach you something. It's going to help you grow and expand. That's the best way to go through life anyway. So stop worrying that you need to get the right decision or that this is going to be final. And a lot of times people think, oh, I got to get the right decision, like as if this is going to be what I do for the rest of my life. I just need the right decision for right now, right? I don't foresee myself not wanting to coach, but like there may be a time in my life where I go, you know what? I want to try something new. I want to do something different. And that's okay. It doesn't mean I made the wrong move to coach for 15 years. It just means that I made the right decision for that time, that season of life, right? So don't feel like it's final or it has to be a forever choice, right? We're just changing vocations here, people. It's not that serious. I mean, I don't mean to make light of it, but we really like harp on these things and it's just not that necessary. Okay. Yes, we want to do a good amount of planning. Yes, we want to treat this decision with respect, but stop treating it like it's the end all be all for your life. It's not. Okay. Pitfall number 3. not letting go of other people's expectations. Whew. We have so much external pressure on us, don't we? From all angles. I mean, we have to measure up to some ridiculous standard that no one even signed up for. I mean, just watch the famous diatribe in the Barbie movie, which, for the record, I pretty much hated that movie. But the scene where America Ferrera's character talks about how we have to be pretty, but not too pretty, assertive, but not bossy, kind, but not a pushover, right? Like, and she goes on and on. I'm paraphrasing there, obviously. But it really speaks to the conflict that we feel in our everyday life. Now add in a major career pivot, like deciding you want to stay home with the kids or go back to work after 10 years at home, and there's suddenly a lot to contend with. Well, I say screw society. Is that too real? Too much tough love? Look, we don't need to be held captive another minute to someone else's values or lack of values. Ooh, I'm going to let you marinate on that one for a second. You don't need to be held captive another minute to someone else's values or lack of values. Let that one sink in. So we have to consciously work through the expectations that we feel. We have to acknowledge them, and then we have to decide if it is worth holding on to or let it go. And that process is going to look different for everyone. But the fact that so many aren't going through the process is the problem, right? They're just still holding on to the fact that their whole family were doctors, so they felt like they had to be too. And well, they better just suck it up and keep doing the doctor thing. Or their mom was an executive. So you know what? I have to be that high-powered executive too. Or your ex left you for a teacher, so you should be a teacher and maybe that'll win him back, or keep your next husband, et cetera, right? All these false expectations. And sometimes the biggest expectations don't even come from others at all. They come from ourselves. Episode 40, is self-identity holding you back? Go back and listen to episode 40 of Rock Your Reinvention. If this sounds like you and you identify with this idea of your own expectations actually being the hardest to live up to, you're going to want to listen to that episode because it's really going to take this another layer deeper for you and help you shake the ego, drop the expectations, and ditch that self-imposed pressure that isn't serving you. And when you let go of all these expectations, that's when you can truly live free. You can finally go after the career that you're meant to go after, that you've always wanted to go after. And that doesn't mean, when letting go of expectations doesn't mean that you don't have goals or things to strive for. And you're just like, oh, well, I don't have any expectations. I'm just going through life. Whatever happens, happens. No, it just means that we're open to detours along the way. And we're present to the opportunities that come up for us. Okay, so I really want you to think of letting go of all those other people's expectations, even expectations you've created for yourself, because that is not going to serve you and allow you to make a career transition that is empowered and really, truly serves you. Okay, pitfall number 4, not living your values. And this might strike a chord for some of you, and maybe some of you haven't even really thought about this before. This one was a hard one for me, and I see many of my clients struggle with this one as well. Let me give you one example to illustrate this, and I'll take it from my own life. When I was in tech, right, I worked for a wireless company, and they wanted to put a device in every child's hand. How early can we strap a watch to their arm? How quickly can we get them in front of an iPad? And how many things can we put on the iPad to keep them there using our data and whatever else? That was so against my values. We don't even have TVs in our bedroom. Like, that's our sanctuary. I am not bringing any media in there. My kids do not have them in their rooms. Like, no. Right? There's a lot of information about children having lower sperm count because of device use, especially if it's in their laps or in their pants pocket, shorts pocket. And I probably have to say like allegedly or something so I don't get sued. But so I'll just leave it at that, right? But there was enough evidence and information for me that I just did not actually align with the company I was working for. And I had such a hard time towards the end going to work every day, doing something that in my core, I just didn't believe in. I was actually against it. And there was constantly an inner struggle. And for a while, you're like comfortably numb and you just kind of detach, you turn that blind eye or try to separate things, right? Like, oh, well, that's how I pay my bills, but I don't really support that work. And this is really what I believe over here. Well, at some point, this is just going to come back to bite you because how long can you really detach for? Eventually, it's going to impact you in some way. So, what can you do? Start by taking a good, long, in-depth look at your values and see if what you're doing right now actually aligns with them and to what degree. And if it doesn't, then you are primed for a career transition. And I know that if you go for it, you will be so much happier when all of your values are embodied. It's the best feeling because you're just so aligned. I don't know how else can I explain it. Life and work just have so much harmony to it now. There is no constant struggle and inner conflict. It's miraculous. It's awesome. I love it. And I want that for everyone. So I hope that you will really take this to heart. And it's, sometimes not always that egregious, right? Where your values are so starkly being attacked. I mean, not that they were being attacked. I don't know what the right word is for that. But, you just feel like you're so out of alignment. Sometimes it's much smaller, subtle thing. Like I had one woman, she was in a very toxic work environment and she wanted out, but she had so many people around her like, well, why would you leave? Like, just wait till the next riff comes around or wait till the next package comes out. Like, look how much more money you could make if you just waited another 6 months. And she's like, I'm freaking miserable. My health is in the toilet. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, yes, your value is not money. You are not placing value on money at that high of a degree. We don't know these people's situation. Maybe they have a gambling problem, or maybe they are living paycheck to paycheck. You are not. You've done the hard work of going to make your plan. You've talked to the financial advisor. You know you're okay. You don't value money the way those people do. There's nothing wrong with you. You're okay. Let's stick to the course of action, the plan to leave, right? So that's just another example of where, yeah, maybe her values, she still believed in the work. At one time, she had actually enjoyed that work, but because the environment became so toxic, what other people valued was being sort of pushed onto her, and she had to be conscious enough and have the intention to be like, no, I'm not going to allow you to press your values in on me. All right, let's get to our last pitfall. Pitfall number 5, making decisions out of fear instead of going for what you want. And because you're a total boss and a high achiever, you have big goals. So of course there's going to be some fear with a career move. That's just par for the course. But don't let this fear drive the bus instead of your intentions, your passion. Right? We need to change that. We got to kick fear out. Because fear is always going to make you play small. Can we just talk about the Australian breakdancer from the Olympics for a second? I know that you have been seeing videos of this woman all over the internet. I'm recording this on August 13th. So I don't know, maybe this will be old news by the time it comes out, but I actually want to give her the biggest kudos, okay? Because here's the thing. I have to believe that there were way more qualified breakdancers in Australia. I want to believe that. But you know what? Here's the thing. Here's why I love her. Because she showed up to that audition. If she had any fear, she didn't let it stop her. She didn't listen to the naysayers. Nope. She went for her dreams and made it to the Olympics, a global stage. I mean, it's mind-blowing, right? She did it because she believed in herself and she went for what she wanted. She did not let fear drive that bus. So what are you waiting for? Go for that VP position. Do not let fear keep you on the sidelines and then have to watch a subpar leader get the role. Submit for that speaking gig. Change companies. Start a business. Whatever it is, just go do it. No more playing small. No more letting fear get in the way. And if you're still struggling with deciding what career move to make, let's employ some logic so that you can combat fear a little more strategically. And that is where my career compass comes in. Not only will it help you break down your options, but to pitfall number 4, it will also help you measure the options against your values. What is most important to you? Nobody else, just you. And it will help take the emotion out of the equation. Not intuition, because that's different. Okay, we want to invite your intuition to the party. There's room for it in the career compass, but we're taking out fear and scarcity and any other negative feelings that you might be associating with a career transition right now. Don't fall for the trap of fear. Go for what you want. Let's chase it relentlessly. And you're going to sit back and watch yourself succeed in ways you had never imagined. And if you still don't have the career compass, you can go get this free resource at KarenFreeland.com/career-compass. It will give you a detailed decision matrix that is customized to you. I give you the framework and you outline the criteria. You'll get clear on your options and determine the best fit for you right now. Not, like I said, 10 years from now. Best decision for you right now without falling into any of these pitfalls that we just discussed. So go get your copy, KarenFreeland.com/career-compass. And while you do that, we'll just do a quick recap of the 5 pitfalls we discussed today. Don't forget to go back and listen to last week's episode if you didn't catch the first 5. Okay, so pitfall number 6. I think I called it number 1 in this episode, but really it should be number 6. Not planning enough. Number 7, thinking this decision is final or you have to get it right. Pitfall number 8, not letting go of other people's expectations. Pitfall number 9, not living your values. And pitfall number 10, making decisions out of fear instead of going for what you want. That does it for today's episode. Be fearless. You got this. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're inspired to take action by committing to one of the tips or strategies we talked about in today's episode. If you want more accountability and support, I've got your back. Book a complimentary Empowered Exit Strategy call today. Visit KarenFreeland.com to learn more and book your 45-minute session. Until next time, stay fabulous.